broadcasting live from Blue Startups in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm going to start with a brief presentation about Blue Startups and go over the program and some of the details about the program. And then using the Q&A function on your Google Hangout, we will be able to have some chat and you can ask me some questions. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I think now you can see the Blue Startups presentation screen. We are a venture accelerator located here in Honolulu, Hawaii. We were rated in the top 20, according to TechCrunch last year, of venture accelerators in the United States. And we are a member of the Global Accelerator Network. The GAN is a spin-out company of Techstars. So we do follow the Techstars model of acceleration. Can't see the screen. Okay, hold on. All right, we're going to continue with the screen share now. So we do have, like I said, we do follow the Techstars model of acceleration, and that includes a lot of lean startup methodology, mentor-driven programming. We do end the program as well with a trip to the Bay Area and do not one but 2 demo days at the end of our program. So let's see here. I can try this one more time. Yeah. Okay. This is the team that is running Blue Startups. We are founded by Hank Rogers and Maya Rogers, who are also the owners of the Tetris company. Little known fact that Tetris is headquartered here in Honolulu, Hawaii. And myself, Shenoa Farnsworth, I have a background in investing here in Hawaii, both on the angel level and with a micro VC fund here in Hawaii, and Jared Kushi, who runs our operations and programs. Okay, we're going to try that again. Hold on. And screen shares doesn't seem to be working. Now it's working. Interesting. I don't know why it's up and down. I think there's just a lag. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep going as if you can see my screen, and sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. All right. So we do have a mentor network, 120 mentors in the network that are both local here in Hawaii and globally. And they have a variety of different expertise, obviously, marketing, finance, etc. A little bit about our track record. So we do have, this is our 7th cohort right now, and to date we have invested in 47 companies. So this is our 3rd year of operations here in Hawaii, and we have roughly about 300 applicants per program. We accept up to 10 companies in the program, every cohort. And to date, again, we've had 47 companies come through the program. They've gone on to raise a total of over $25 million in follow-on funding. That's about an average of $500,000 per company. So a little bit about our portfolio. So the some of our companies, just to give you a feel for that, is primarily software and some mobile apps, some hardware, although that's not our preferred company, but we do look at hardware companies, especially if they're coming out of Hawaii. Hawaii, Blue Startups is a public-private partnership, so we do take in companies both from Hawaii and outside of Hawaii. We are motivated to serve our local entrepreneur community here in Hawaii as well. So what are we looking for cohort number 7? We are looking for scalable technology companies with a global focus. In particular, looking for companies that are interested in the Asian markets, either coming from Asia or going into Asia, and obviously having a full team. We define that as business acumen, developer skills, and ideally creative design and marketing. The cohort for cohort number 7 will run April 11th to July 22nd, and the deadline to apply is March 18th. Okay, so what's the deal? The deal is $25,000 upfront investment for a share of equity, 3 to 10%. We do negotiate equity. So in our offer letter to you, you'll receive the equity that we're proposing to take from the company. And at the end of the program, we do a follow-on funding of $25,000. That's based on milestones that you've achieved. And there's also a $50,000 in co-investment. So it's up to $100,000 that we invest in each company in the program. As I mentioned, we're a part of the GAN, so we do also offer a lot of perks, some through the GAN network, some that we've negotiated on our own. Upwards of $800,000 worth of perks for each company. I think I mentioned already the program itself is a small cohort, up to 10 companies, lasting for 4 months with the capstone in the Bay Area of 1 week. We do have, like I said, a very broad-based mentor network, some in Hawaii, some outside of Hawaii. We also have a travel technology advisory committee, so we do have specialized mentors in that area. And we do have a lead mentor that is assigned to each team in the cohort, and an entrepreneur in residence as well that will be joining us for the cohort period. Some of the perks, again, to go over some of our partnerships that we have with our perk companies is...
How the Q&A, they have to open it themselves.
Okay. Some of the perks we have, obviously, you can see here, Facebook, PayPal, SendGrid, Lindenary, TriNet, SoftLayer, Wilson Sonsini. We have a great partnership with Wilson Sonsini. They come out to Hawaii and join us for each of our cohorts. And we are also, like I mentioned, a member of the GAN. So with that, we have a lot of other perks as well. And some of our local partners here in Hawaii, as I mentioned, we're a public-private partnership, so we do work with the state of Hawaii. We also are very closely connected with Hawaii Angels, as I'm also the managing director of that organization. So we definitely have a close relationship with our local angels. And we also, as I mentioned, are affiliated with the Tetris company. We're a member of a broader community in Hawaii, the Startup Paradise community. It is a burgeoning high-tech scene here in Honolulu and throughout the state. These are some of the organizations that we work with. There are small microfunds and, like I mentioned, the Angel Group. There are other accelerators that we also collaborate with, co-working spaces, and other helpful entities in our ecosystem here. So that concludes the formal presentation for Blue Startups. And at this point, you can ask me questions using the Google Hangout chat function. So you need to click on your, I'm going to stop my screen share. Hold on. And now you should be able to see me again. In order to ask a question, you will need to find the Q&A button there on the upper right-hand side. It kind of looks like a little box grid for the Q&A. And see. See if anybody has a question. Sorry about the screen share. I was just getting that message. I don't know why the screen share was coming and going. That I can't explain. Google Hangout is always a fun experiment. Okay. Let's see. Looks like Yogesh was trying to ask me a question, but I don't see the question. Yogesh, maybe try again on that. Not sure what happened there. Are you guys seeing anything? Okay. Okay. We got one question here. Yogi. Oh, car exchange. Hi, Yogi. Are you guys seeing anything? Okay. Okay. We got one question. Like a window within a window. Oh. Okay. Yogi, I'm trying to answer your question. Are you limited to any particular region in Asia? We're not limited to any particular region in Asia, but we do focus on more of East Asia. So Japan and Korea and China. That doesn't mean we rule out India, but I would have to tell you we haven't taken in a company from India yet. We have obviously worked with some Indian entrepreneurs since they're all over the place, but India we haven't tackled as a market that we've been really focused on. Primarily, again, East Asia and Southeast Asia to some extent. So I'm going to see, are there any other questions? I can't see anything for some reason. Okay. All right. So that was a question from Yogi, and there is another question, looks like from Yogi as well. I think if you click on it. Okay. I don't think it's a question. Maybe it's just a comment. Okay. Cool. Okay. Any other questions? Folks can ask me. If you can't find the Q&A function there, you can also look on the Google Plus comment section and ask another one. We should be your first. All right. Well, Yogi, you should apply. I know we met when I was there in San Francisco, so that was a good meeting, and I'll encourage you to apply, and you can be our first sort of India-based, although I know you're actually living in the Bay Area, so that might be cheating, but India-based startup. But you're launching in India, I know, so that would be interesting for sure. So, other questions, like I said, you can either ask on the Q&A function or on the Google Hangout. So just click, you have to click on it. Oh, that wasn't a question. I guess you're saying the screen sharing is gone again. I think that was earlier. Like I said, I don't know why the screen share was coming and going like that. Okay, well, I know there's a pretty significant lag time, so I'm just going to hang out here for a while. It seems that it's possible to apply from both F-Success and AngelList. Which do you prefer? We do prefer F-Success because that is our primary platform that we use for applications, but either one works for us. We do review all of them. And so, yeah, either of those. But F-Success is our primary tool that we use for all of our other organization, like perks and KPIs and things like that. So if you're in the F-Success system, that's helpful for us. If you have a profile there. Okay. Just going to keep talking a little bit and give you guys a chance to ask more questions, because I know, like I said, there's a pretty significant lag time. So let's see, what else can I tell you about Blue Startups that you don't already know? A little bit more about kind of what we're looking for in terms of the companies. We do look for team. That's probably the number one thing that we are interested in at this stage. We also often get the question about what stage your company should be in when you apply to Blue Startups. And again, it really does vary because we are able to negotiate our equity share agreement with you. We can take companies in at various stages. We have taken in companies fairly early. Because we're motivated to work with them for one reason or another, primarily team at that point. We've also taken in companies that are very mature, so later stage, post-revenue, post-product in the market. And again, we can also we can assist those companies in scaling up and getting things really going. So okay, one more question. How about the interview process after the application? Is it over Skype or does it have to be in person? So the interviews are done over Skype. We do our first interview on Skype, second interview is Skype as well, and even our third. So we don't require you to be here in person. We understand that would be a pretty big burden. We do get applicants from all over the world. So having them fly in for an interview would probably be an undue burden on them, especially given our small class size and, the fact that we do get so many applicants for a few spots that doesn't really make sense for anybody to have you fly in. Skype is pretty effective. Of course, if you live in Hawaii, then we ask you to come in person and meet with us. But other than that, it's mostly on Skype. So just one more thought about the stage of company. Again, something that our sweet spot, I would say, is right at go-to-market. So if you are post-product but haven't yet had a full-scale launch of product, that's usually a great spot for us to start working with you. And we can help with, again, scalability issues, go-to-market issues, things like that. But we're open to looking at companies across all stages and really across all sectors. Again, in terms of sector, we are, very motivated to find unique companies, obviously, doing things that haven't been perhaps done before, but more importantly, are scalable, and that lends itself to SaaS. We do a lot of that. Mobile applications, web services, things of that nature. We have done a fair amount in the gaming space. We do get questions about gaming a lot because of our affiliation with Tetris. However, in that gaming space, we are really focused on more infrastructure or back-end software that enables gaming solutions, things of that nature, as opposed to actual gaming companies that are publishing games. So We also have had a few companies in the esports area, which we're pretty excited about those companies right now. So that's a great space for us. I think I already mentioned travel and our expertise there. Yes. Okay, we have another question. Will it be possible to also do one of the interviews in person? We have a partnership with an environmental organization that would be good to visit them. Well, of course, in person is always preferable if that's a possibility. So I think that, we should always be thinking about that. But, again, if it's not an undue burden, I would say that that's a great idea. To be here in person is always preferable. What else? I'm looking at my staff here. What else have I not talked about yet? I think we talked a little bit about the mentorship structure, but just again, to be really clear, each company gets assigned a lead mentor, or actually you are kind of mutually decide upon a lead mentor to work with throughout the cohort. And then the other mentors come in and out of the cohort in a variety of ways. We do office hours daily, we do workshops, and we do other types of interactions with our mentors. But there's something going on here usually every day. Okay, another question. Does it help if my startup was accepted into an accelerator in Silicon Valley? Why is it that gaming companies in the publishing space are at a disadvantage? Okay. Does it help? I guess it always helps to get our attention if you've been accepted elsewhere, right? Because then we know, that we're under a little bit of a time issue to resolve with you whether or not we want you in our program as well, and to kind of a fight over you, I guess you could say. It is competitive for us, so if we think that your company is a company that we want to have in the program, we will try to put forward our best offer and compete for your attention, so to speak. That's something that we will do. So definitely do give us a heads up if you've been accepted elsewhere, so that we know to kind of fast track your application. With regards to the gaming and publishing, I think the easy answer on that one is that we know the space very well. Our parent company, Tetris, has been in the business for 30 years. And I think they understand just how difficult it is, in fact, to produce a winning game, and how much of a kind of win or lose proposition that is. So it is something that we just try to kind of steer clear from. I know that may not make a lot of sense since we have the resources in that area, but again, the things that we're interested in and the things that we have invested in the past are more around the infrastructure issues related to gaming. So gaming analytics, gaming software, VR. We've done companies in and around that gaming industry, but the actual publishing of games, I guess, is just too risky for us. So that would be the short answer. Looking to see if there are any other questions. Yeah, one more. What is the most that Blue Startups invest directly? 25 is a minimum, but what about later stage companies, post-product revenue, Okay, so in terms of the way that the investment is structured, it really is a set structure for the investment. So we are structured in such a way that we actually don't have the option to invest more upfront. So it is a staged investment. And we do that for a variety of reasons, even if you have traction and various proof points. Again, the negotiating piece there would be the share of equity that we take in the company. So if you are significantly post-revenue, we would take a lower percent of equity for that initial investment. But the structure remains that it's 25 upfront and 25 at the conclusion of the program, and another 50 when you receive your first round of funding, or round of funding in excess of $250,000. So that is the structure. That's why it's up to 100K, but it is staged. Gives us a chance to get to know you, and also builds in some healthy incentives for achievement of certain milestones in the program. And so we don't have flexibility on the dollar amount, but we do have flexibility on the equity amount, would be kind of the answer to that question. So I'll look and again give you a few more minutes to ask any other remaining questions. A few other details about our program. We are in downtown Honolulu. We're co-located in the Tetris office. Yes, there are a lot of Tetris games you can play here, along with, the requisite ping pong and foosball and other things. But the one thing we don't have is parking. We get asked that a lot. So we can help you with housing, to try to locate housing and also transportation, but parking in the building is always a challenge, so just kind of know that. Another question has come in, does it help if we have had success in other fields when applying? Well, of course it does. Again, coming back to what we look for, primarily team, right? So we're trying to assess at this stage, are you a team that can get to work right away when you get into the program and accomplish something? Because the program is fairly short, right? 3.5, 4 months, not a whole lot of time. We need you to be able to get here and hit the ground running. So that's all about the team, the quality of the team, and the background of the team. So that is really what we're assessing at this stage. Very important for us. Next question. Do you need to be a part of Blue Startups to speak to a mentor or participate in workshops? I'm afraid that you do. As we're in recruiting mode right now, we do have several events that are open to the public. We have a founder mixer next week, Thursday, March 3rd. Everyone is welcome to join us there. That is our event to kind of help you maybe find a co-founder or a developer or that sort of thing. We're co-hosting that event with the Dev League, which is a local coding academy. So we'll be meeting their graduates and seeing, if there's any kind of matchups that can be made there. So we do have events like that, but as far as the workshops that we hold during the program and while we're in session with the cohort, those are exclusively for the cohort and for the teams that have gotten into the program. Okay, we have another question. Any housing for people who come from outside of Hawaii, discounts on local housing or recommendations, partnerships with Airbnb, etc.? Those are all great ideas and things that we have been pursuing for quite some time. Unfortunately, we don't have a partnership that is really that advantageous. We have a few leads for you, but primarily we tell people to look on Craigslist. They've actually had better luck with doing that than the few partnerships that we have, which have turned out to be more expensive than things that you can normally just find on Craigslist. I'll be honest, housing is not easy. Certainly if you're coming from the Bay Area, you're familiar with that. It's certainly no worse than the Bay Area, but it is a challenge. We do our best to help you out and provide you with suggestions, etc. What a lot of folks do is they will come in and rent Airbnb for temporarily until they can find housing. It's much easier to find when you're on the ground, and you can go and visit places and check them out and all of that. So that's something to think about as a strategy. A lot of people have had success doing that. But yeah, I'm still waiting for a billionaire to come around and tell me I can use his Diamond Head house and throw all the entrepreneurs in there and have a big startup party. But hasn't happened yet. All right, next question. Do you have experience with multi-sided platforms from the former programs? Well, unfortunately, yes. No, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but yes. Marketplace companies we have worked with quite often. They are challenging, as I'm sure you know, but yes, we do have experience and have, I think, had multiple companies in kind of the marketplace arena in the travel area, we've had that, and our company from our last cohort, which is doing a fresh fish marketplace platform, has to acquire both the fishermen and the consumers, etc. So yeah, a lot of experience in that unique challenge of building a marketplace. And also several mentors that are very astute in that area. Another question: what is the point system like when you pick the teams that are selected for the program? For instance, best out of 10, 25, 100, etc. Do you give applicants feedback on submissions? So we do have a rating system, and it's pretty rudimentary, actually, just a 5-star system that we do for the first cut. And then for the second interview, it is a 10-point system that our screening committee uses to take a look at the program, or the company, sorry, and rate that. And then all of that is taken into consideration along with many other things. That it's not a pure, point system unless, you get X number of points you're not getting in, etc. And what was the second part of the question? Anyway, it's not like a pure point system like that, but it does come into play. And I'm just trying to find the rest of that question, which seems to have disappeared. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Just 1 second here. Okay. Next question. When do you expect to give notice about who gets selected? We have a brilliant person on marketing and design who works 25 hours with us now and has quit her other job to go to Hawaii. Wow, I like that. You're all in. So I think in that situation, it is best to give us a heads up, that you have some timing issues. Definitely let us know that. We can be reached easily. Here you have on the Google, or you have Jared's email, which was posted on the Google Hangout as well, and many other ways to get in touch with us. But do give us a heads up on the timing issues. I can't guarantee that you will, get an early answer, but we certainly do our best to give you some indication one way or the other so you can do some planning around that. It is hard for us to get people in early because of the structure of our interview process, with there being 3 separate kind of interview points, and the second interview being a committee that we have to gather together, which takes some pre-planning and time. So anyway, just keep that all in mind, but we will do our best to deal with any of those issues. Okay, another question. How many hours per day and per week are formally part of the program versus time to work independently? So it is a pretty time-intensive program. We want you to be very aware of that going into it. However, we always say we want you to work on your company. So if there is something pressing with regards to your company, i.e. a customer call, for example, and you can't be in a workshop because of that, we absolutely want you to do that. So your company comes first. So anything that is going to create progress for you and your company has got to be priority number 1, and the program comes second to that. We think, of course, that the majority of the program is incredibly helpful to you and your company, but we're not, too strict about that. We do request that you are here in the office at least 5 hours a day. There's so much that happens here in the office that's, synergistic, or people coming by, or, visitors that we didn't know that pop in, etc., that it really helps you to be here. The other part of that is just the peer-to-peer kind of networking and connecting that you get by being here. So it definitely benefits you to be here more, as opposed to kind of being kind of checked out of the program. But in terms of having time to work and get work done, we are always very cognizant of that and trying to plan the program around those issues of getting work done. So that's definitely something that we strive for. Okay, and the other part of that last question was about getting feedback on your submissions. I'll be honest, we get a lot of applicants. So if you make it through the first cut into the second round of interviews, we do give feedback after that point. If you don't make it through the first round, if you don't get selected for a second interview, we generally don't. So that's just a matter of our own resources and timing and availability of staff and etc. So yeah, those are kind of the restrictions on our part with that. But we do try to give people that came through a good portion of that screening process, we do try to give them feedback. All right. Anything else? Just looking. What are some of the graduate companies that you're most proud of? Okay, so we do have a fair number of graduate companies that we're proud of course. We're proud of all of them, but the ones that are kind of standouts for us, Volta Technologies, which is also has a headquarters in San Francisco right now. They were born here in Hawaii. They have a electric car charging station network that is ad supported, so supported by sponsors and advertisers. A very unique business model. They're doing quite well. Also Flow Water, which is a vending machine for filtered water. They're also now headquartered in the Bay Area, and they are also Hawaii born and also doing quite well. They've got hundreds of units placed in various places, but primarily in gyms and especially in CrossFit gyms. So that's kind of their niche. Another company, Area Metrics, which is a data and analytics for retail company. So both the app and SaaS play using Beacon technology. They're doing quite well, just raised a $2 million Series A, and they're in Seattle now, also born in Hawaii. Advantage Sports, yeah, which Vantage Sports is a data analytics for sports. Started with the NBA, moving into other sports currently, so they're doing quite well as well. So that gives you some idea. They're primarily a software program. That gives you some idea of the types of companies that have come through that we are the most proud of. But yeah, they have primarily proud of them because they've gone on to raise significant capital. That's our first kind of metric of success, right? Okay, let's see if there are any other questions that we missed, but I think that was everything. And hope that you will all apply and let us know if you do have any other questions. And I think that's it, right? Anything else coming in, gang? Okay. Yeah, just reading through the questions again. Yeah. All right. So I think we will sign off. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for listening and hanging in there with our Google Hangouts. Always an adventure. And hope to hear from you all soon. Okay. Aloha.